Welcome back to the Full-Time Wedding Pro podcast. My name is Peyton Helm. I'm the host of this podcast and the owner of Full-Time Wedding Pro. We are back, my friends. It is December 2023, and we're back. I am so excited to be picking up the podcast again. Today's episode, I'm talking about why staying consistent is truly the key to success in your business, in your life, in everything that you do. And this episode is going to be a shorter episode because I've got to jump on a coaching call right after this, which is really funny, on the topic of staying consistent. But this episode is something I have been thinking about all year long. Obviously, for those of you who have been listening to the podcast, I've made one episode this entire year, which I thought was crazy because I looked back on my Spotify and I was like, oh my God, I've only made one podcast episode this year. And then I had people sending me, screenshots of their Spotify Wrapped for this year, and my podcast was up there. I was like, oh, it's amazing. It's great. So in this episode, I'm talking about why staying consistent is the key to success. And also why I have not made any podcast episodes this year, but also why I'm going to be doing that every single week, if not twice a week, for 2024. Okay. Now, before I dive in, I just want to say that this year has been, it's been hard for a lot of people, but oh my God, guys, this year has been absolutely incredible for the coaching program. And all of my photographers and filmmakers in the wedding industry who are in Full-Time Wedding Pro. It's been crazy. It's been insane. We've pivoted a lot of strategies because 2023 has been, a little bit different than 2022 and 2021. But man, I have seen some student, case studies and results this year that I've never seen. So it's just been incredible. So my friends, listen, if you are a wedding photographer or filmmaker, you want to learn more about what we do with Full-Time Wedding Pro. It's a full coaching program. We talk about branding, paid advertising, organic marketing. It's all centered around teaching you how to get more wedding bookings at higher prices, and those, weddings be absolute dream weddings. So if you want to learn more about that, go to fulltimeweddingpro.com. If you want to apply, there's also some more free resources on there that you can dive into. But the link is in the show notes, fulltimeweddingpro.com. Also, this podcast is going to be on YouTube. So if you're watching on Spotify and you want to go to YouTube, just go to YouTube, type in Full-Time Wedding Pro. You'll see the podcast pop up, and feel free to subscribe. This is a video version. It's great. So let's go ahead and dive in then. And talk about why staying consistent is the key to success. And I want to tell a little bit of a story. So last year in 2023, I had a big focus on obviously growing, or not 2023, sorry, 2022 last year. I had a big focus obviously on growing the coaching program because, I've been a photographer for 5 years, and then I booked a lot of my weddings through paid advertising. So in 2021, I started the coaching program, and I was like, hey, if anybody needs help, running ads to book weddings, I got you. And then it just kind of grew from there. It's been amazing. But in 2022, I was trying a lot of different things. I was trying a lot of different, like sales processes, like with the Facebook group, and then running direct ads and doing calls and trying to do the podcast and all this stuff. And I was kind of just scrambled everywhere, and I wasn't really staying consistent with anything. It was kind of a problem. So in 2022, I think I did 10 podcast episodes out of the 52 weeks that were in the year. But then, I was doing the podcast episodes, but I had poor time management. So I was also trying to do all these different sales funnels and stuff for the program. I did a mini course. I did a little VSL, there's a whole bunch of stuff. And I was very scattered. I didn't really know what I was doing. And I was at the end of 2023 or 2022, excuse me, I was like, okay, I need to figure out what's most important, what's going to drive the most results, not only for myself, but also for my coaching students, and pour as much as I can into that. So I settled on pulling back from the podcast, even though I didn't want to. I still love making podcast episodes. But I decided to pull back, and I wanted to stay consistent in what was really driving the needle. Because my goal with Full-Time Wedding Pro, obviously, making the money is great. I love being a coach. I love getting paid to help people do things. But really, I want Full-Time Wedding Pro to be the number one coaching program in the wedding industry for photographers and filmmakers specifically. That's my goal. And I have a lot of incredible educators to compete with. Just throwing that out there. And I definitely feel like it's going to take a while to get there. But man, and I love all the educators in this industry. There's so many that are absolutely incredible. But anyway, I really want this program to be amazing and be one of the top programs for people to get the most results. And I want my students to go through it, and every single one of them absolutely change their lives. Like that's my goal. So this year I made a huge focus on serving my coaching members. So I dialed everything back. I hardly posted on Instagram. I hardly did the podcast. I didn't do I did one episode for the podcast, and I just stuck with one sales funnel. It was an ad to a video, and then that video to a booked call, and then I sold the coaching program. And man, guys, like I was on calls every day, getting people in the program. I signed up over 100 coaching members this year alone, and it was been amazing. And then also I added an extra day for coaching calls because I started getting a whole lot. I started doing one-on-one calls, and then I got very busy. So then I did 2 days a week for group coaching calls for my coaching students. And now we're doing that, and it's been amazing. But I updated the course. There's a whole new paid ads mastery module in there. It's like 10 videos. And oh my God, it is the culmination of everything that I have tested, that my students have tested, that I've consulted with agency owners and stuff who are doing hundreds of thousands of dollars a day in ad spend. It is the most in-depth and robust and absolutely impactful paid ads training in our industry right now. I truly believe that. But anyway, and obviously the student results are just like freaking phenomenal. Again, if you want to see some of our case studies, go to fulltimeweddingpro.com. Not trying to make this podcast a sales pitch, I promise. But anyway, let's keep going. So the point is, I was showing up for the coaching program every day. I was on calls every day. I was helping members every day. I'm still doing that, right? And it started growing and growing and growing to the point where I had to bring on an assistant to help me close and manage some things. So now I have some time back, and I said, okay, I scaled hard with paid ads this year for both my coaching program and my wedding business. I've been running ads this year off and on for the wedding business. I'm running them currently, and it's been amazing. And I'm because for next year I'm almost completely fully booked, so I wasn't trying to scale super hard with the wedding business. But I am right now because it's almost booking season, so it's really profitable to advertise this time of year. But anyway, so the point is, I was consistent, absolutely consistent. And now that I have help and I'm delegating some of my tasks, I have more time back. So I'm going to be creating podcast episodes. And I'm going to stay consistent with it. And thanks to AI, now I can cut these podcast episodes down and make reels and TikToks, and it's great. So I'm, 3D content kind of. So anyway, my advice to you here is that I need you to stay consistent as long, like if your goal is to build your wedding business, whether you're a photographer, filmmaker, or whatever, every day you have to show up no matter what. And my friends, like, listen, I have gone through hell this year, like absolute hell. I had 2 business ideas that completely flopped, and I lost a lot of money on it. I got scammed by someone, lost a lot of money on it, had to give a lot of refunds. Horrible, right? Nothing to do with the coaching program really, but it was a different thing, and it was awful. I moved to a new city where I know nobody, and then went through a breakup, so now I really know nobody. And it was really, really tough. And there was a lot of days where I literally just didn't want to get out of bed. And man, like, I have a goal and I have a dream, and that is the only thing that truly got me out of bed in the mornings. And I just stayed consistent through the hard days. And it was tough. And I had to turn off my emotions and just get to work. And it was hard. And there was a lot of days where I pulled, 12, 14-hour days, and I would go to the gym at like 1 or 2 a.m. literally on Monday. I was making the new course module, and, I went to the gym at like 2 a.m. And I was thinking about this last night while I was at the gym. And I was like, man, like, when we have a dream and we have a goal, I hear a lot of excuses from photographers and filmmakers sometimes where it's like, oh, my life has just been crazy and I've not had time to do this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, there's 2 types of people out here. There's the people who have a dream and a goal. I mean, both of these people have dreams and goals, right? Everybody does. But there's 2 types of people. There's the people who, no matter what, will work to achieve those goals. And I'm not trying to promote hustle culture or whatever. I don't want to be canceled. But they take time for themselves too, but every single day they're working on achieving that goal, whatever that goal is. And they're putting in the hours, and they're putting in the work, and they're putting in the effort. Sometimes they're working 5, 6, 7 days a week. Sometimes they're working 12-hour days, which, if that's you, I get it. The grind is real. Take some time for yourself. You deserve it, right? Like, we all deserve some time for ourselves. But then there's the people who do that. And then there's the people who make excuses. and they sit on their ass and they don't do anything. And then they blame others for their lack of success. I need you to be the first person, because I want all of you. The goal of this podcast and me giving out free information and all this stuff, and even the paid information, like my goal is for all of us listening to be successful in what we want to do, because the alternative is hell. We've lived it. I've lived it. The 9 to 5, working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, not ever getting to go home and see your spouse and your kids and your animals, or spend time with family, or not being able to just travel anywhere, anytime you want, sucks. Like, it really freaking sucks. I mean, having like, you know, paid benefits is nice, but you know, that's like, and then not having to pay business taxes, that's kind of nice. Having stable income, not just playing. So, you know, there's a lot of, there's some trade-offs to being an entrepreneur, but the biggest thing for me is like, I remember back in 2019 when I was working as a sales agent for an insurance, or not an insurance, but it was a internet company. I was like looking at people driving by outside, and I was like having a breakdown. I was like, why can't I do that? Why do these people just get to be free and drive around? Why am I stuck in this little box for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and never going home to see my cats? Because I wasn't in a relationship at the time, but you know, my cats are my babies. So I have a dog now, by the way, for anybody who's interested. Anyway, doesn't matter. So when I went full time, I struggled, right? Because I went full time during freaking COVID, so that was rough. But I struggled, right? But even during the days where, like, you know, I had a lot of weddings rescheduled, and then I had to go to freaking DoorDash just to give and do Uber Eats and stuff just to make some money in the very beginning. Like, I was so much happier making my own schedule than I was being locked in a little cubicle for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. So like the point here I'm trying to make is like, guys, whatever you're going through, as long as it's like not absolutely freaking insane. I've been through it. I went full time during a pandemic with, you know, my fiance at the time going through freaking stage 4 cancer treatment. So it's like, if I can build a business at that moment supporting 2 people full time during COVID, you guys can do whatever your goals are. I promise you, you can. Like, you can put the work in. No matter what, you can get scrappy, you can get resourceful if you have to. But please, for the love of God, stay consistent. Show up every single day. And the flip side of this that I really want to drive home here is that as entrepreneurs, we have the blessing and a curse of not being able to turn off our brains when it's time to stop working. So yes, I want you to show up every single day. I want you to stay consistent, but also after like a certain time of day, 5, 6, 7 p.m., whatever, like try your best to go out, touch some grass, get some sunlight in the mornings, unless it's dark, you know, like at night or whatever, but like, you know, spend some time with your family. That's why we're here, right? Show up every single day. And do something that's going to move the needle in your business every single day. Think about the 80-20 rule, right? Like, list out all of the tasks that you have. I like to use Notion for my time management, which I can do a podcast episode on if you guys want to, you know, learn and hear and see it. But, you know, make out a list of everything that you've got to do, like the big things, right? Like marketing or, you know, editing or whatever, and find the things that are going to get you 80% of the results. And then the other 20%, you know, the small things like, changing some stuff on your website or whatever else, like, you know, those things that aren't going to move the needle as much. Tackle the most important things first thing you do, right? When you wake up in the morning, you open up your computer and you start working. What is the thing that's going to get you 80% of your results towards your goal, right? Do that thing first. And then if that's the only thing you get done that day, hell, you did it. You got one thing done. You're good. You can move on to the rest of the stuff, or you can take the rest of the day off. Like, dude, yesterday, be totally honest, yesterday my goal was to do a new free ads training, which you can get by going to fulltimewritingpro.com. And then I did a new sales video for the coaching program, which I send to you after you apply. And it breaks down like the offer and the price and everything. I did both of those yesterday, and I was like, okay, like that's all I have the capacity to do today. And then I literally just took the rest of the day off. So, you know, sometimes like you got to do that. Like, but you know, the past 3 weeks I've been working like 8 to 10 to 12 hour days. So, you know, you need to show up every day consistently. If you really want to hit your goals, show up every day and make a list. Like, that's your homework after listening to this podcast episode. Like, what are the things that you need to do? Make an entire list and then make a schedule. If you have to use your freaking calendar, then use your calendar or whatever. And what is one thing that you can do every single day? One thing, just one thing that's going to move the needle in your business, whether that's getting a client gallery done, or it's taking time to learn some type of marketing, or it's one day maybe you batch 5 Instagram posts, or something like that, like, or reach out to a vendor or whatever. What is that thing that you need to do? Write it down, do it, do one thing every day, not the same thing, right? But like, do the most important task first thing in the morning and show up every day consistently. Like, consistency is the most important. If you can stay consistent, you will have more confidence and belief in yourself, which means that you will portray more belief and confidence whenever you get on the phone on those consultation calls with your potential wedding couples. And you can, once you have that confidence in yourself, you're like, yeah, listen, I can go through hell and I'll still be consistent and I'll still show up for you because I show up for myself. I want you to have that belief, because when you have that belief, everything else will change, because your clients will sense that belief. You can raise your prices. You can start shifting your branding to go after clientele who respect you more, and you'll be able to close it because you'll have that confidence in yourself. That's what I want for you. So if this podcast episode resonated with you, I know it was a short one and I'm so sorry. I could probably go on, longer and longer, but like I said, I have a coaching call to get to because I am consistent. Because that's what I want. That's what I want you guys to be, right? So anyway, if this podcast episode resonated with you, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. If you are listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please subscribe. Please leave me a rating and review. It means a lot to me. And if you want more information about Full Time Wedding Pro, or you want to dive into some more free content, go to fulltimeweddingpro.com. Follow me on Instagram. I'm here. All right, I'm done pitching. That is it for you guys. Thank you so much for listening to this shorter episode. I'm going to have more longer episodes. As of right now, I don't have a posting schedule necessarily. I don't also know if I'm just going to do 1 episode a week or 2 episodes a week. I think I might start at 1 episode a week. And if I can handle it with the time, I'll do 2 episodes a week. Because the podcast, I want to be like, just giving you all some free sauce here, right? When I talk about multi-layered content in Full Time Wedding Pro, like, this is exactly what I'm doing. I'm making a YouTube video, and then I'm taking the audio and putting it on a podcast, and then I'm using a video editing software to make Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts from it. So like, I'm hitting on all sides. So hey, if you're a wedding photographer and you're cool with being on video and audio, I recommend doing the exact same thing: YouTube videos, podcast episodes, and then cutting these up and making Reels and YouTube Shorts and stuff. It's something I teach in the coaching program. I have a few students who do it, and it's great. So anyway, my friends, if you like this video, please leave me a rating and review. Please subscribe. And I will see you in the next video, hopefully whenever that comes out, most likely in a week. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you later.